Vaccines are safe.
Very, very, very low risk of getting a myocarditis.
If you are not vaccinated, you remain at risk.
Comedian Nick Nemiroff dead at age 32. Teen equestrian star Sienna Knowles hospitalized with blood clots after Pfizer vaccine. You've done one hell of a job in making sure that they've made a lot of money. And I yield back.
We need to put these people in jail.
The vaccine industry is disgusting.
The American government, there's no shame.
Okay, so that is a trailer, I guess, for a congressional hearing that's going to happen next week where Marjorie Greene is going to get to the bottom of the plot to kill you with vaccines. And along the way, she's going to advance conspiracy theories like the idea that literally anyone notable who died because they got the vaccine or whatever. It's going to be nonsense. It's intended to distract people. But the reason we're talking about it is not because it's ridiculous. And it's not because she, stole the soundtrack from like a Terminator movie to put in the back of her congressional hearing thing. It's because it's consequential. The right wings continue to push to get people to not trust medicine or science, let alone vaccines, matters. And we're going to show you how it matters. But first, we did want to do a little bit of a throwback. Because while Marjorie Greene now has to say that vaccines are like a bomb that's going to go off in your brain, back in March of 2021, she was very excited for Donald Trump rolling out through Operation Warp Speed the vaccines. President Trump saved lives. Now, granted, you can see from the last sentence of that, she was really only saying that so she could stop any social distancing, mask mandates, anything like that. But she used to be a fan of it. Now it matters though, and I'll give you the details, but the bottom line is that routine vaccination for children, the rate of people asking for exemptions from that has never been higher in American history. And you can trace that to the advocacy of people like Donald Trump, but largely people like Marjorie Greene, Tucker Carlson, and the rest of them. We'll give you the numbers in a sec, but Aida, what do you think?
I actually am friends with a doctor who is very involved in the vaccine movement. One of the first doctors to get vaccinated, and he was talking to me about this. And I was asking him, my medical doctor told me that a lot of the people who suffered issues with vaccines are the people who would suffer issues with COVID because those are the consequences because their body reacts to COVID in a certain way. But it's not, to put it on the vaccines. What I want to know is I want to pull the vaccine records of all of these people. I want to see your records. Show me your vaccination records. And I'm not just talking about, because when you say vaccines, that's very dangerous. If you're specifically talking about COVID vaccines or all the vaccines, and that's what they're saying, vaccines are bad, vaccines are this. Vaccines have saved lives for how many centuries now? Like, think about how many people would have died. But I just want to see your vaccine records. You better not have any of the latest vaccines that you would get as an adult, because I know for a fact that these people are just preying on the people who they think are dumb enough to believe all the stuff that they say. They were telling people not to get vaccinations while getting vaccinated. They were doing all of the things that they tell people not to do. They do it, but they're like, because it's good enough for them. It's just not good enough for you. You are just the follower. It's so sad that they do that to people. It's really messed up.
Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily be ready to bet money that Marjorie Greene didn't put, her cardiovascular health where her mouth is. I feel like she might have foregone the vaccine, but I would like to see the records. But you're definitely right about people like Tucker Carlson, who basically turned his show into the I'm going to try to kill as many people in my audience hour for a couple of years. He 100%. He got the vaccines. He told his audience not to. And he was not alone in that. And it's absolutely reprehensible. And we should never forget that.
But it's also the people who have the polio, the mumps, the hepatitis. They have all those vaccines because that hepatitis vaccine is not that we didn't have that when we were children. So they have all of those vaccines. They don't want to get tetanus. They get all of these vaccines and they are alive because of it. They are healthy because of it. And they are sitting here using the term vaccine. They're not even being specific. They're not just talking about the COVID vaccines. They said vaccines are dangerous, period. That's Sorry, it's annoying.
Yeah, and it's going to matter for a long time. Just briefly, new numbers coming out of the CDC. 3% of children entering kindergarten during the 2022-2023 school year were granted a vaccine exemption. It's the highest exemption rate ever reported in the US. So it's more, the vaccines are more available. There's more information than there's ever been, and yet more parents are choosing to not vaccinate their kids. As of 2022-2023, vaccination coverage among kindergartners remained at 93%. Before the pandemic, it had generally been about 95%, which is the estimate for the level of immunity you need to protect against viral outbreaks. But the thing is that average might sound bad, but that's just an average over the whole country. When you break it down at the state level, Idaho is past 12% for exemptions. Florida's only at 4.5%. So look, I don't know if we will ever get the specifics on the individual kids or the individual populations who are not just getting the COVID vaccine, not getting any of these vaccines, but they are going to get sick. Some of them are going to get seriously sick. Some of them will die. Some of them will spread this to other people who, for a variety of reasons, cannot get the vaccines, just like with COVID. And that is now the system that has been set up, where there's all these different opportunities spread throughout the country for people to needlessly get sick, die, suffer. And that is what we have coming out of the period of COVID, is a population that has been trained to not trust this stuff. And this is a population that's already suffering in a lot of different ways. And now you can add one more thing to the pile, thanks to people like Marjorie Greene, people like Tucker Carlson, and many, many others. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.